We'll call the meeting to order. Mr. Phelan is on the phone. Is there a motion to allow Danny Phelan? Mr. Renaud? Ms. Daly? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. Next is the approval of the January 23rd and February 27th minutes. We'll take them together. Member Daly, Member Salzer. Any questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. Next, we have the informational items. We'll move to receive and file those unless there's any specific questions that would like to be asked. Okay, we'll move on to resolution, which Sally Hanley's here, and Scott will be handling, but it's intergovernmental agreement and designating ordinance amendment number 9 for the Peoria Urban Enterprise Zone. Is there a motion to put this on the floor? Member Blair, is there a second? Member Renaud.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. If the committee recalls, once a year for both the urban enterprise zone and the rural enterprise zone, and today we're only talking about the urban enterprise zone, we solicit feedback from the intergovernmental partners. Those intergovernmental partners include the City of Peoria, the Village of Peoria Heights, the City of West Peoria, the Village of Bartonville, the Village of Bellevue, and the Village of Mapleton. As to whether or not there are any parcels that they would like to add or delete to the enterprise zone boundary. This year we have some. There's some additions and deletions in West Peoria. There are also additions in unincorporated Peoria County. This year we also have 2 changes to the designating ordinance and the intergovernmental agreement between those governmental bodies that I just listed. And there's 2 amendments that are included. The first is as a result of a change in state law, and that is that when the state originally granted the enterprise zone to us, they did that with a maximum allotment of 15 square miles. In the last year or so, they came back and gave us an extra 5 square miles. The original 15 were allocated based on a formula, and that's called out in both the designating ordinance and in the intergovernmental agreement. Those 2 documents also have, in the Enterprise Zone Act, requires that each zone have a zone management organization. For us, the zone management organization are economic development professionals that represent each of the municipalities, and I represent the county on that. That group convened and had a discussion as to how we should allocate these new extra 5 square miles, and it was the unanimous consensus of this body, or that body, that we should hold that in a pool, and then that body would make a recommendation that each of the governing bodies would have to approve through the annual amendment process, that we hold that in that extra 5 square miles in a pool and address it on a case-by-case basis. So this year we have West Peoria deleting and adding land. That could have created a situation where we would have had West Peoria need to tap into some of that extra 5 square miles. Because they're deleting land, they don't have to. But had they not been deleting it, that situation could have created that. And then the zone management organization would have recommended to the board and the city council and the village boards through the amendment process how that would be allocated. The second amendment to the text of both the designating ordinance and the intergovernmental agreement deals with incentives that we offer through the zone. One of the offers, or one of the incentives that is offered under the state statute is a property tax abatement for qualifying projects for a maximum of 5 years. Our zone is set up so that it is not 100% of the improvements for all 5 years. It's a sliding scale so that you start in year 1 with 100% of the property tax abatement of the improvements, and then by year 0 it goes to, or year five it goes to 0. We slowly get there and ramp up over the period of time. Additionally, those property tax abatements are only applied to the portion of the tax bill for the taxing bodies that have agreed to abate their taxes. So the county and those municipalities have agreed to do that. If you recall last year, when we amended the rural enterprise zone, Brimfield School District agreed to participate in the property tax abatement process as well. So it's not every taxing body, it's only those taxing bodies that have agreed to participate in the abatement process. So that's the background. The change is that we have been approached by either solar energy, wind energy, or battery storage energy developers and companies who are going to be doing developments in our community, and mostly in the unincorporated areas, that have unsolicited have come to us and said that they are willing to forego the property tax abatement incentive. So what we have written here is an amendment that would exclude any wind energy, solar energy, or battery storage energy project that you have approved a special use for through our zoning process, or if that project's in one of those municipalities, then that village board or city council has also given its zoning approval for. Otherwise, the incentives remain unchanged. Happy to answer any questions for myself, or if I can't, Sally can.
Questions? Yep.
Just wanted to note, Sally and I discussed before the meeting, and Scott had you guys refresh your iPads, the exhibits to the IGA and the ordinance. That's where you get all of the updated maps, legal descriptions, pins. Exhibit A, I always forget the terminology. That Exhibit A was updated, and we just wanted to note that the map that goes along with Exhibit A, the correct one is included, the old one is also included, and track changes just didn't make that super clear. So we wanted to make it clear to you that the second map is the old map.
Member Williams.
As always, I'm a no vote on this because of the threshold for prevailing wage.
Any other questions? Thank you to everybody. I do think it is important for the aspect of exempting wind, solar from property tax abatement, because if you recall, these CJA, FEJA, and the federal bills, these are already heavily subsidized projects to even get there, let alone for us to be giving up that portion of the property tax.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I would just also add that we did have the required public hearing this morning, and Sally, Nancy, and I were the only ones present. So,
Thank you. Good to know. Seeing no more comments, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Ayes have it. Or yeah, nays. So all ayes and one nay. Next for discussion is Andre. Do we?
The first discussion item is an annual update from the Minority Business Development Center. Denise actually is accepting an award at ISU today, but she was sent one of her senior staff. He's somewhere. Okay. Andre, he was in the building somewhere, and Andre was tracking him down. So give us a moment.
While Fred is getting here, we'll move to the board policy for proclamations. And the reason I asked for this to be put on here, it's really more of asking for some direction for staff on, I think the old unwritten rule of the board was that we only recognized high schools, and you had to receive first place to win for those recognitions. If you've seen any of the sporting pages and the last things, we have grade schools winning all sorts of awards, high schools winning all sorts of awards, from first to third to fourth, really looking for some sort of direction, because we could spend hours upon hours giving proclamations for sports to see if we should go stick with the original policy of it'd be high schools and you had to have won first place for a proclamation. Just trying to minimize it, or I know a lot of us have schools that are been very, very successful in our district, so just trying to be mindful of everybody's time. Is everybody okay with high schools only and first place only? If they win a national championship? Coach, you need to talk to the mic.
I said we only got one college basically that participates in athletics or national speech contest or something like that, because Bradley's won several national speech contests and so forth. But the College of St. Francis is a college, I learned, because I missed on a trivia question one time, but I think you got to include Bradley.
Member Williams.
I would say, just a thought, if we could have a proclamation but just not present it at the county board, just give them a proclamation. Like if they, because that's a pretty big deal, getting, say, first in the state for a grade school or something. I still think that's a big deal.
So give a proclamation to a grade school for first, but just not having them come. It's a good idea. Everybody okay with that? Okay. Just one member, Ricker.
Kind of along in the proclamation line is, do we have kind of a guideline of when those should be submitted so they're in time to be written up, and, is it 5 days before the board meeting or something, just so we're not caught off guard?
So I would ask, that's more of a Gretchen question of how long it takes her to, for most part, most of those have come through Gretchen, but I know that we've had second and third place that board members have asked about trying to give a proclamation to. Your question is basically the timeline for how long to put a proclamation together?
Yeah, so it's kind of a due date, X days before meeting, so we're not calling Gretchen like at 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock meeting. Oh, by the way, could you put together whatever?
Just thanks. No one's really coming quite that late, but thanks. The biggest hurdle, honestly, especially with sports, is getting the team together to see if they have availability, finding out who their coach is and the athletic director, and then they have to get ahead of maybe their part-time coach, and then maybe all the girls are now in softball when they just finished basketball, so as we found out, like with Notre Dame. So that's really the crux of it, is having enough time to get the person here. Usually when it's a sporting event, our local sports coverage is still pretty good, so we can do up a proclamation pretty quick when it's sports teams. I think sometimes, 2 weeks in advance is almost what you need. We try to get them here faster when the championship lands closer, but we kind of leave it up to the school if they can get here or not.
Any other questions? And thanks, Gretchen. You do a great job on the proclamations and much appreciated. And for the most part, she catches them all before a board member would even have to ask, so. Okay, good. I just wanted some sort of clear direction. Next, we'll move to the Minority Business Development Center update. Well, while they're working on that, we're going to keep moving then. So we're going to move to infrastructure report. Coach?
We've got three resolutions, and two of them had to do with speed studies and so forth. And the first speed study was done out in the Trevoli area, and it was North Trevoli Road. It's about, it was an unposted 55 mile an hour, and there were complaints to township officials, mainly from a couple different counties and from a couple different townships, and they requested, and so the highway department created their study and so forth, and they recommended, and the committee accepted reducing the speed limit there on the North Trevoli Road to 50 miles an hour. The second resolution had to do with an area by Creighton Woods and Vinton Highlands coming off of the area of War Memorial Drive down to Charter Oak Road, and the recommendation was to reduce the speed limit to 40 miles an hour, which we accepted that particular recommendation, and so we will take that to the board. And the third one had to do with the last phase in the hiring of our county engineer, and the state had approved her in their particular requirements and so forth. And of course, I think most of us know the job that she has done, and so we are recommending the acceptance of her again, and she will be given her third contract, and that is a 6-year contract. And so Amy McLaren is who we are going to again recommend to the board.
Thank you, Member Saul. Is there any questions? Seeing none, Ways and Means, Member Windish.
What we have? Delinquent taxes, and that was unanimous. What else was there? I think that was it. Oh yeah, the VAC.
Yeah.
And it was unanimous too. That was it.
Next, Land Use, Member Rosenbaum.
We had 3 zoning cases. The first one was John Parshall, bringing his, changing, I think, a residential to business, bringing him into compliance. The second one was petition of Four Creeks LLC, putting up a wind tower to study wind speeds up in the northern part of the county for a potential wind farm a few years down the road. And the third one was Michael Cochran out on Taylor Road, or off of Taylor Road, wanting to do a subdivision, and they all passed unanimously.
Thank you, Member Rosenbaum. Any questions? Seeing none, Operations, Member Ricker.
We had 2 resolutions. The first was the approval of a 2-year contract for the use of the National Association of Counties Public Promise Savvy tool, which is a tool that will allow employees of the county to evaluate if they have a ability to get a public student loan forgiveness. So it's a very positive tool that will allow the employees to go in, and if they do qualify, then they can apply using the tool to apply to get the loan forgiveness. It's a cost of $150 per person that uses the tool annually. So we approved a not to exceed $30,000 a year cost. So that was the first one. The second one was for a workers' compensation settlement case, and that one was to approve a not to exceed $39,600 settlement.
Thank you, Member Ricker. Any questions? Health was canceled. Public safety was canceled. Finance.
We had no resolutions. However, I think everybody was here, but I think you can find out a lot of good information that the Finance Department prepares for us. We have a new report that's covering all the capital projects, so I would recommend looking at that so we know where we're at there. But again, I said it earlier, I just think our Finance Department's doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you, Member Williams. Any questions? Seeing none, we'll move to the Minority Business Development Center update.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Fred Stewart from the Minority Business Development Center, Program Manager of the Entrepreneurship and Contractors Program. Here today to present on our outcomes from the generous grant that was provided by Peoria County. Deliverables, requirements, and accountabilities of the MBDC. The MBDC shall develop and implement economic development strategies that minority business retention and expansion. The results of these strategies will be measured and shared annually with the Peoria County Board. There will be at least one county, Peoria County will have at least one seat on the MBDC Board of Directors. We will first look at the deliverables so far. Increase financial literacy in minority communities and conduct at least 2 personal financial educational workshops. We had 2, one in April of 2023, the impact of credit, and then we did Wealth Wednesdays beginning on May 17, 2023. And that was a series of 8 sessions. We also conducted quarterly educational sessions focusing on financing for business startups. We conducted those in the second quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter of 2023. We also was a navigator for the Back to Business and New Business Grant programs that DCEO launched. Second deliverable was increased minority business ownership. We conducted 2 entrepreneurship training programs that focus on startups, that focus on business that had potentially already registered and started their business, but needed a reset. We conducted one in March, one in April, and in August of 2023. Those were supported by 5 of our mentorship group that consists of AFE Construction, Supreme Accounting, that focuses on the financial health of the business. Eric Sampson, we partnered with the SBDC, Integrity First Bookkeeping, and Doris Simmons. Third deliverables, equip minority business with proper resources and information to grow and sustain their business. We hosted a hiring fair for business that served and went through the MBDC. We had a Black Business Financial Fair in August 2023, which was a success. And we also hosted starting and growing a veteran-owned business in October 2023. During our business academy, we have personal branding and marketing education seminars. We also participated and held the business certification with the Peoria Equal Opportunity Diversity and Inclusion Program in November. We continue to recruit and support minority business through our BBA meetings that are held monthly. We currently average about 25 to 26 business quarterly. And this is some of our results from our annual report. The MBDC was pretty busy in 2023. We saw 844 in-person visits, 463 phone calls, for a total of 1,307. We count them as touch points. We had 19 entrepreneur sessions throughout the year with attendance of 321 participants. Our IT program had 3 sessions with 46 participants. Our contractor development program had 23 participants, and external classes and cohorts that we host and participate in, we did 30 with participating partners for 117 participants, and then our workforce, we had 1 session with 5 participants. And there's just photos and pictures of some of the classes that we held during 2023. And feel free to take any questions, comments.
Member Blair.
I want to thank Fred and everyone at the MBDC. They have sent quite a few entrepreneurs our way towards this grant program, but more importantly, they've helped mentor and educate these entrepreneurs, which will help improve their chances of being successful. To be part of our grant program, you have to have 2 mentors, so they have partnered then with Fred and then a mentor with another organization. And so these people are getting top-notch mentorship and assistance.
Thank you, Member Blair. Any other questions? Fred, I got one. So the numbers of 844 in-person visits, 463 phone calls, where does that correlate with year over year? So is that an uptick, downtick, or are you seeing more people come in? Something to base the numbers off of.
So I've been there 2 years, and it's for sure an uptick, and I felt it. But it's been an increase over the years since I've been there. I think the first year I was there, it was probably around 500, 550. So it's definitely have increased with the Smart Start opportunity and with the success of individuals getting awarded, and as well as the real focus on really educating and getting people to start their business with the right foundation and the right way.
Thank you, Fred. Member Rosenbaum.
I don't have a question. I just want to thank you for the numbers at the end of people that attended in that, because that gives you an idea, or gives us an idea, how many people are showing up for this, and quantitate. And I appreciate the numbers. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you. Next is public comment. Miscellaneous. Seeing none, meeting adjourned.